So here's the thing. I have good news and I have bad news. This is the benefit of a doubt. What's up, everybody? I am here at Samsung Galaxy Unpacked, and I need to speak very very quietly, because right next to me there's an interview being conducted by a much bigger publication than me. And these rooms are not very soundproof, so you probably don't hear them, but they could possibly hear me. So I'm just going to keep it down, which is, kind of off-brand for me, but bear with me. So I am here at Samsung Galaxy Unpacked in winter of 2026. It's February. We just saw the launch of the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, and along with the rest of the S26 family of devices. There's also Buds, which this video will not be about. I may do another video about the Buds later on down the road, but for now we're focusing on this phone right here, which is the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. Now, I'm going to give you the bad news first. The bad news is that from a hardware perspective, this is pretty much this. Yeah, for all intents and purposes. I'm just going to run down a quick spec list, and I think you will kind of see where I'm going as the farther I get into the list. This is a 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED screen. This is a 200 megapixel main camera, 50 megapixel telephoto camera with 5x optical zoom, 10 megapixel camera with 10x optical zoom, and then 50 megapixel, 3x optical zoom. I'm sorry, that sounded wrong as I was saying it. And then 50 megapixel ultra wide camera. Inside you have the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy, which according to Samsung, this is Gen 2 of the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy processors, even though it's Gen 5. Not confusing at all, so don't worry about that. You have 256 gigabytes all the way up to 1 terabyte of storage. You have 12 or 16 gigabytes of storage in this phone, depending on your configuration. A 5,000 milliamp hour battery that is not silicon carbon. And you have a slightly thinner phone. It's not a ton thinner, but it's slightly thinner. You have wired charging. Okay, so now we're going to get into a few of the differences. First of all, this phone is a squared off beast. This phone is more round, which is nice. Consequence of that, or consequence, or whatever you want to call it, is the S Pen for the S26 Ultra is a little curved on the end there. So to the point of where if you put it in backwards, you get a little nubbin sticking out there. So, but it doesn't break the phone, so there's always that. Anyway, inside this phone, you have that 5,000 milliamp hour battery, but you also get 60 watt charging, which is great. The cable, now Samsung clarified, they are not shipping a power brick with the phone. Shocking. But the cable that will ship with the phone will be able to handle up to 60 watts of power input. So if you get like an Anker charger, Anker's a friend of the show, then you'll get that full benefit of the 60 watts of charging. A couple of other kind of odds and ends here. Like I said, the colors. This is actually kind of a nice thing. The colorways are consistent across all 3 devices, so you can get this color in all 3 devices, and there's 3 other colors, white, black, and I think a lavender is what they're calling it. This phone launches on, when this video drops, and it will be available on March 11th. The pricing is also the same despite RAM shortages and tariffs, so that's a good call. $1299.99 for this guy, and then the other 2 are $1099 and $899 if I remember correctly. That's kind of like I said, that's kind of the bad news. The good news is I woke up very excited. Samsung has been teasing this thing about the privacy display, And it's really cool how it works. According to Samsung, this is the first time that they've really re-engineered, excuse me, this is the first time that they've really re-engineered their display, and they changed up the pixel configurations on the display. And what that does is they have a cluster of each, like, pixel, basically, each I don't know, cluster of pixels, if you want to call it. I'm not entirely sure what the engineering terms are. But each cluster of pixels has forward-facing pixels, and then it has wide-angle pixels as well. Now, what Privacy Display does is it turns off those wide-angle pixels. So I've got some B-roll that I'm going to show you, and I'm also going to demo this a little bit right now. Here's what that basically looks like. Here is the S26 Ultra, and we turn and we turn and we go like this and we go like this. Now I'm going to turn the privacy display on. You can turn on the privacy display in a few different ways, and actually you already saw it like right there. So just let me show you this real quick. So as you turn the phone, it basically disappears, and it goes that way, and it goes that way, and it goes that way. That is a function of the forward-facing pixels being on only. Now, as you can see, when I double press this, the privacy display turns off, and there's a very slight, very subtle difference in how the pixels show up. And I'm pretty sure they're done with that interview right now, so I'm going to start talking a little bit more loudly. Anyway, now, the cool part is, like, obviously, so you don't need a screen protector on this phone, like a privacy screen protector, if you're in a bus or if you're in a public venue and someone's looking over your shoulder. You won't need that. But the cool part is even if you, like when you put on the screen protector, that's there forever. And that's there for the entire screen. Now, I'm going to put some B-roll in here. When you have the S26 Ultra, you can configure different times and different reasons for turning on the privacy display. So there's conditions for turning on. Let me just show you this real quick. You can have it turn on for certain apps. You can have it turn on when you are putting in your PIN or your password. They won't let us put pins on here, so maybe I'll shoot some. No, I won't shoot some B-roll because I won't get a device until after this is launched. Anyway, you can put in you can turn on privacy display for your PIN and your password only. So basically, when you first turn on the phone and you go to put in a PIN, then that turns on the privacy display. The really cool part is you can turn this on just for notification pop-ups, which means you're looking at your phone, you're consuming your content, and suddenly your wife texts you. Just the pixels that build that notification will be privacy, while the rest will be full color and turned on in all their full glory. That part, I think, is the really cool part. But even that isn't the game-changing part. Let me tell you what the game-changing part is. The game-changing part is that this is all configurable by swiping down and tapping this button right here, privacy display. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. You can configure whatever apps you want. You can turn it on or turn it off manually just from that button. It's extremely accessible. And that, I think, is the killer app here. The fact that anybody with an S26 Ultra, it's only for the S26 Ultra, not for the S26 Plus or the S26 base, just for the Ultra. But anybody with an S26 Ultra can swipe that down, tap the button, and it's there. And that, I think, is the really killer feature here. Not the fact, I mean, the feature itself is very cool, but I think just the ease at which you can turn this on and off is amazing. You probably noticed that at a couple points I was actually double pressing the side button, which is no longer the power button, RIP power button, the side button to turn privacy display on and off. And that is a configurable option. I know a lot of you are thinking, well, what about launching the camera? Yeah, you can only have one or the other. That's kind of a downside. I would like to see like a triple press to turn on the privacy filter and a double press to launch the camera. But you know, what do I know? I'm just a writer and a YouTuber. But anyway, so it is dead simple to turn on. It is dead simple to turn off. And if you don't like it, you can turn it off and never worry about it again. Again, this is now. I'm going to go into a little bit of speculation here, but I asked the question: what's the cost difference between a privacy display and a regular display? Before I even finished the question, they shut me down. And they unequivocally shut me down. So I'm going to guess that it's a fairly significant cost difference. Otherwise, why wouldn't you have it on the S26 and the S26 Plus? Hey folks, Editing Adam here, breaking in here. Just because a couple of things have happened since I shot that video. I just wanted to talk about the supposition that I just made there about why would the privacy display only be available on the Ultra. It must be expensive, right? Well, not so much. So, I mean, it is a thing. So a couple of things happened since I shot that video. The first thing that happened is as I talked to a few different people about this prevailing theory that I had that, you know, it must be pricey. That's why they didn't include it on everything. And I talked to two different journalists and they both gave me two different answers as to why it might not have been included on anything but the Ultra, neither of which had anything to do with cost. Cost, I'm pretty sure, is a factor. Don't get me wrong. But one journalist that I talked to suggested that perhaps it's just a straight-up differentiation thing. Maybe Samsung just wants the phone to be different than the other phones because they want, you know, Samsung wants people to buy the Ultra, which makes sense. It's more money for them. So that's a good point. The second person that I talked to suggested, and it's funny because these conversations happened back to back. And I'm like, throw me a bone here, man. I'm trying to be smart. No, and the second person said that it could be more of a test bed. Like, you know, maybe they're just testing out this feature to see how users react to it before they roll it out to the entire line. And as it turns out, kind of all three of us were right. So right after I had those conversations, I went to talk to a Samsung executive and I asked him the question. And I said, is it a cost thing? Is it a technical limitation? Is it an exclusivity thing? Is it being careful about the user experience? And Samsung said, this is a paraphrase of what Samsung said. The purpose is for the Ultra to be the best of the best, which, okay, so that's kind of a differentiation thing. That's why it's only on the Ultra model. They're going to keep monitoring user feedback, so that's the other one. You know, they're being cautious about the user experience, and they're open to expanding it in the future. But they also said that the screen itself is more complex, and therefore it is more costly. So it's just funny because like all three of us, and it kind of turned out to be correct. And I admit the way I phrased the question kind of gave him a door to, you know, go through any one of those. So that's fair. It was a little bit of a softball on my part anyway. Yeah, so I just wanted to let you know that's what happened since we made that video. And now we'll let you get back to more of me. One of the nice things about technology is the longer you use it, the more you use it, the cheaper it gets. So will we see this on all Galaxy devices in the future? Will we see it on all Galaxy S devices in the future? I don't know. And Samsung won't comment on that to the point where I won't even ask the question because I know for a fact they will not comment on it. But on the S26 Ultra, this is a really good proving ground to see how often this feature is used, how it comes off, how the public receives it. I am very excited about this. And I am not a privacy person. I don't care about privacy. I dig this feature. And I think that is why you should dig this feature too, because it's very exciting. Across the board, I think we could use more privacy in our lives. And I know I am guilty of occasionally glancing at somebody I'm riding in an airplane with and say, oh, I wonder what they're doing. It's none of my business. And you know what? People looking at my phone, it's none of your business. Back off. The privacy display, I don't think I've actually said this number, limits your field of view to about 15 degrees. So when you turn 15 degrees to one way or another, things get a lot less readable really quick. There's also a maximum privacy display, which I'm not going to go through the... What maximum privacy display does is it turns all of your blacks into grays. As you can, with the privacy display, you can see the screen gets very gray very quickly. So what the maximum privacy display mode does is it takes everything black and turns it into a gray. So when you turn on privacy mode, it gets darker, it gets unreadable more quickly. Samsung doesn't recommend you do that all the time because you're kind of handcuffing your beautiful, which it is, but that's the word they use. It's handcuffing your beautiful Samsung display. So they don't recommend you run that all the time. But for like super private moments, you could use that maximum privacy display, which is also pretty cool. Again, I would have had to enable dark mode and do all that stuff in order to show you like how well it works, but that's just kind of another thing that you can do. So I think that's going to wrap it up for here for me here, because some of the PR folks are peering into the room and wondering when the hell is this guy going to leave. So I guess I'm going to leave right now. So what I want to know from you is comment down below. Are you excited about this phone? Are you excited about the privacy display? Will you use it? What conditions would you like to see it used for? So comment down below. I'm interested to have this conversation because I am super jazzed about this particular feature. Don't forget to like, share, smash that bell, do all that stuff, and I will see you in the next video.